Dystopia warning, obviously. I was supposed to start my series on Nigel Farage and the questions that he needs to answer regarding Russia. But Britain appears to be in the midst of a widespread race riot. It's happening in so many towns and has happened in so many towns that it's almost impossible to keep up with it. As you all know, it started with Southport, and since then it's spread out to Manchester, to Liverpool, to Middlesbrough, to Hull, with most of the councils saying that the people that are committing these crimes are not from the local area, that they're being bussed in, and that a lot of it is being coordinated online and orchestrated via social media. And we all know who's orchestrating it and ramping up the rhetoric, don't we? Now, I've been trying to keep up with it as much as I can, but I have to admit that what I have seen has been some of the most shocking displays of overt racism that I think that I've ever seen in my life en masse. There are essentially lynch mobs going after anyone that does not look white. I've seen a lone man get attacked by a mob and have the P word thrown at him. I've seen what appears to be like a Southeast Asian woman and a man kicked in the head. What appears to be a British Asian man pulled out of his car. Nobody knows if the reports that he was stabbed were actually accurate. There was the attack in Manchester on a lone black man. These are lynchings. But one of the most shocking things that I saw today in video form, well actually there's two. The first one was in Middlesbrough, where a group of little fucking scumbags trying to stop the flow of traffic according to the race of the drivers.
You're white! You're white! You're English! You're white!
Big Jake Ray there, big Jakey boy. Are you white? Are you white? That's mental.
And then of course there's what's happening still in Rotherham, and much of it is being live streamed on TikTok, and the people that are live streaming it and joining in are getting gifts and rewards for live streaming widespread civil disorder. In Rotherham, the mob decided to descend upon a Holiday Inn, a hotel where asylum seekers are being housed. They set fire to it. I don't know who the person is that recorded this footage, but she decides to go on a little rant at the beginning of the recording. Look at this.
We just want the boats to stop. This hotel is full of immigrants. Britain isn't British anymore because we're letting too many people in on boats. As NHS is at breaking point already, and just letting people in as country and not doing out about them. We're housing them, we're giving them money, we're giving them phones, we're giving them a warm place to stay with. These are veterans that are on the street. For anybody that thinks that I'm racist, I'm not. I ain't got a problem. I ain't got a problem with doctors. I ain't got a problem with people that work and earn a living that are British citizens. It's the people on the boats that come and take. Our children are not safe.
Stop the boats, really. Repeating a Tory campaign slogan at a race riot, which shows you who is in large part culpable for this. I mean, obviously all the National Front, EDL, Britain First, whatever they want to call themselves, neo-Nazis, racists, they're exactly the kind of people that the Tory party were trying to appeal to when they were trying to win the election. Asylum seekers were only housed in hotels because the Tories refused to process their claims. Why did they refuse to process their claims? Because that would have shown that they had the right to remain here. It would have made the Tories look tolerant, and they couldn't have that, could they? They were adopting the policy of Farage, who then himself capitalised on this with the help of Putin's troll farms, who spread conspiracy theories about the Great Replacement theory. They prop up GB News, they spread Islamophobia, and they all support reform. I am going to record my videos about Farage, but at the moment I'm aghast watching the footage that's coming in from multiple places across the country. But what that woman was saying was rhetoric that was pushed to the masses by the government to get the far right to vote for them, and also to deflect from their own corruption and failures. And now what's happened? The public are out for blood, trying to burn down a hotel that houses asylum seekers, but not just asylum seekers, no, women fleeing domestic abuse and other British families that are homeless that can't be housed because we have a social housing crisis. All the things that she mentioned, the problems with the NHS, the problems with veterans not being housed properly, it's down to the government. This is a symptom of a problem, not the cause of it. They're attacking the patsies of the last government and repeating the slogan of the people who were responsible. Now, what prompted a lot of this was rampant online speculation about the religion or the race of the Southport murder suspect who killed the 3 little girls. Robinson, GB News, reform dickheads are still spreading misinformation that is only fueling this. Robinson today, from his crowd-funded villa in Spain, because he always runs away after inciting violence, doesn't he, is spreading false information, again, with no real evidence or basis, about Anita Rose, the grandmother who was murdered in Ipswich. All we know, obviously, is that the suspect is a man, but he's spreading an online conspiracy theory that the suspect is a Somali man. There is zero evidence of this. He and all the rest of the far right are using dead women and girls to incite race riots. They don't give a solitary fuck about women or about girls, otherwise they wouldn't associate with people like Andrew Tate, who is currently awaiting trial on charges of rape and trafficking. Loads of the reform lot like him as well. A fair proportion of this, I would say, is incited by people like Lee Anderson, saying things like, oh, we want our country back. Well, I want my fucking country back from racists. They all use the same rhetoric, the same language, don't they? Calling people that aren't white invaders, dehumanising rhetoric. Now it's spilled into open violence because all the people radicalised by the Russian troll farms, by the actual government spouting Islamophobia, they are literally running riot. There are people in Telegram groups calling for the hanging of the Home Secretary. I've also seen people calling for the head of Starmer, the Prime Minister. He put out a statement today where he said he was not going to shy away from calling them the far right because that's precisely what they are. And he also said that those spreading this online and then running away, like little Tommy, would also be held responsible. So I'm hoping that people like Lawrence Fox, Tommy Robinson, Katie Hopkins get a nice armed early wake-up call soon. And I also want for people like Nigel Farage, Lee Anderson, Tice, etc. to be forced out of their positions which they do not deserve in terms of representing constituencies and charged for incitement. That's what this is, it's incitement. It's essentially Farage's and Robinson's insurrection. And they go around saying, oh, they're not being heard. We just had a general election. They had an opportunity to be heard. People democratically voted en masse for Labour. Plus, most of the mainstream media and their horrific racist headlines, the racism of GB News, which Ofcom needs to shut down, Talk TV, etc., spend all day saying what they want to hear. The BBC are still calling these people protesters. They're just the KKK in ill-fitting Sports Direct tracksuits. They're instigators, multi-millionaire traitors, seeding chaos and disorder whilst promoted by Russian bot farms. It's treason. They don't want our country back. They want Britain to be vulnerable, to unravel, and make us vulnerable on behalf of foreign powers. Yeah, all the while claiming that they care about our country. The people carrying this out, the henchmen, they don't love Britain, they just hate themselves. And I hate them too. Meanwhile, Just Stop Oil protesters, who peacefully blocked roads for a little while, 5 years in prison. And when people talk about Just Stop Oil, they go, oh, the ambulances couldn't get through. What fucking ambulances? Are they forgetting that we're in Tory Britain? A place with no NHS, in which people suffering heart attacks were waiting hours for an ambulance to turn up and dying on their bedroom floors. And then you get people going, oh, you can't call them far right. What, we can't use basic definitions? Singling out people based on the colour of their skin is the very definition of being a Nazi. These aren't protests, they're a pogrom. They're singling out people based on their religion. You can't reason with the radicalised. People really far down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theory. I'm a woman, I felt unheard all of my life. I haven't gone around just smashing up men or my local library. In reality, in society, no one has more power than those white men. And they're showing it with violence on our streets as I speak. And not just those taking part, but those who instigate it need to be put away for many years.